Hi guys, this is week 3 of the fresco painting I have been working on for the past couple of weeks. Recapping from last week, I've been starting to get into some details, however there are still a few areas that I need to cover. As you can see here, I've started to get into a little bit of detail, or try and get as much detail as possible, just to see how much detail I can actually do on this painting. And for this week I'm going to focus on some of the light. I have been working on the light on the water, however there has been no sense of shadow or light refracting or any sort of sense of shadow. As you can see here, I'm starting to bring in the shadows of the little houses that are on the built on the side of the bridge, and I'm going to start painting in to try and get as close colour as possibly can, because obviously I want this to be quite accurate. And it will take a while to get this correct. I spent a long time just on this house alone, but you know, it's gonna take a while just to get all of this correct and to a finished standard. I think I use this house just to get to grips on how detailed and what sort of level of detail I need to get that sort of sense of light. So I will move on to other areas just to keep me into the painting. As I said last week, I usually move on to another area just to keep me into the painting, keep me going, because if I work onto a certain area for a long period of time, I start to get quite bored. And here we are, I'm going back into the painting again, with fresh eyes as well. I can, when you move on to another area, it's a new part of the painting, and when you move back to what you were previously working on, you can see a few details, little bits and bobs that you've missed, or any small things that you've gone wrong on. And you can see here I'm starting to go over the buildings again. Under it was acrylics. I'm using oils at the moment. It is the first time I've been using oils, so it's quite a learning experience for me. I learned oils itself are really easily applicable, as in the fact that they stay wet for a long time. It takes a long time for oils to dry, so if I need to work into something, I don't know, an hour later, I can work into it no problem. The only problem is it's still wet, and I can sometimes make mistakes where my hand actually touches the painting and it smudges it, or you don't want to touch the painting if it's wet, because you'll mess it all up. So that is one problem, but on the advantage, it is still wet and you can still work into it. And on the other hand, acrylics can dry easily and it can become quite a tough paint to apply. So at this stage I'm starting to go and work into the right hand side of the painting, which I've actually manipulated. The client didn't want much of the roof in, so I've changed the perspective to give it a bit more of the side of the wall. This is actually not how the picture goes, but you know, I think it makes it look a little bit better. It adds a little bit more perspective into it. You can see, you probably see a little bit later, I'm working into the buildings again, but when I move back onto the wall again on the right hand side, you'll be able to see a sense of perspective, and it gives a sense of depth, I think. And when I start to apply the light again, it'll pack that punch a little bit more, and I think it'll work really well. So now I'm going to try and get the buildings as accurate as possible, each window and everything like that. You know, these things take a long time, and I do move on to another part of the painting. I move on to other areas such as the right hand side, because it can get quite boring really, and you know, eventually you're just painting every window what it looks like and the light that's on there. It takes a lot of thinking as well, and when you move on to another part of the painting that doesn't require as much thought, and you can almost recuperate and work onto that again, because you can be susceptible to actually make a lot of mistakes if you work into a part that requires a lot of thinking. And you can actually see here the shadow that's actually on the painting is moving. I thought that was quite funny, because shows how long I'm actually painting it for. As you can see, I'm starting to I'll move on to the next part of the painting, which is on the right hand side. And well, I'm mixing three colours here. I'm mixing a sort of a lightish beige colour, a red, and a white, and to give that sense of consistency, it's quite hard. I found it quite hard. You can see there's almost a slight gradient from I don't know whether you can see it, a reddish colour onto the right hand side of that roofing, and it fades away to sort of a beigey colour, but I'll fix that later. I don't know whether you can see it or not from here, because of the bad quality of the video. And I'm really trying to get the painting, the perspective, as accurate as possible. You know, I move it around, I do make mistakes. These arches I found incredibly hard. I've never done them before, so, you know, and I can learn from that in the future. And I looked through a lot of books just to try and get that, look for a picture that has that same angle, but I didn't. But I looked through a lot of pictures and tried to judge how it would look from this angle. And books can come really handy. It's only recently I've started to buy books with lots of pictures and stuff like that, and you know, the DK books come really handy, especially the eyewitness ones, because if I'm gonna, because I do a lot of digital art, if I'm trying to paint, I don't know, a warrior or a particular castle or something like that, you know, I have a massive library of books that I can refer to, which can come really handy, and you can learn from how those castles were built, why they were there, and the reasons for that, and especially with the armour, why they looked the way they looked, and the annotations on, you know, the pictures help, but the annotations in these books really do help a lot. And you can see here now, I'm doing almost every tile, but I actually skipped that part of the video because it's quite repetitive. And at this part here, it's still acrylics underneath, and I'm starting to go on oils again. And this is where the painting gives that nice 3D depth or sense of 3D-ness to it because of the arches, and I'm quite happy with this part of the painting. I do move it around a lot. I change the colours because I'm constantly referring to the image that I'm working with, and referring that to the painting, and how does the painting itself give that sense of 3D-ness to it. I do change it. The picture, if you refer from the picture I'm working to and the painting itself, it's quite different. Because of the tonal values and stuff, I worked the tonal values for the painting, not for the picture, and I think that's helped the painting come through a little bit more. So I don't know whether that was the right thing to do or not, but I did that anyway, and hopefully it will come through as good as I think it will come through as. And there's little buildings here. I do make a mistake because the pillar that's actually holding up the bridge, I don't know what it's actually called, but the massive pillar that's keeping up the bridge down below on the left hand side, I got that wrong and I needed to move that across, which was a bit annoying, but never mind. And I'll correct that later on, and I'll try and get it as accurate as possible, but you know, it's my own fault. I can't really get angry about that. You can see here I'm starting to correct it. And we're starting to come to the end of the video now. Next week I'm going to really try and get to grips with realism, not to a photorealistic standard, but as accurate as I possibly can, and cover every single area of the painting. And thanks for watching this. Here's a piece that I've done digitally by myself. I'll give you my DeviantArt account if you want to check out any of my stuff. So I shall hopefully see you next week. So yeah, bye bye.